Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. The date you're watching this is July 3rd, the day before Independence Day. The day that I'm taping this is June 30th. That's right. I'm in the studio on a Saturday because my eye surgery has been rescheduled to Monday, July 2nd. So by the time y'all are watching this, I'm done with my surgery. Everything went perfect, and I'll be back again next week, keeping my fingers crossed. I'm not sure how long the doctor's going to want me laid up for. I just hope it's not long because, the one thing that I do have in my life is my job, and I love doing what I do. What can I say? Let me set up my credits so we don't blow the end of the show like I have done in the past. Now, let's go over to the rant cam for a while. All right, here we are. Nice to see y'all. It's nice to see, period. I want to, I'll wait till next week to do that. Let's get into some rants. Nothing that makes any sense. Nothing that is not rooted in truth, maybe. Not sure if that's the way I want to put it or not. Because what I'm going to talk about today is emotional. That's right. That's what the left seems to think that this country should run on, is our emotions. Yeah. Starting with, and here's, for those of you that have heard this too much, I'm sorry, but I have to say it. Children being ripped from their parents and separated from their families. Yeah, that's a terrible, horrible thing. Families are meant to be together. What I want to know is, honestly, how many of you people out there that are upset about the illegal immigration stuff that's going on? That's right, illegal immigration stuff that's going on, and kids being separated from their parents. How many of you idiots are divorced and have used your kids as a weapon? I probably just blew the audio right off the top of the track. Yes. Divorce pulls kids away from their parents. Love is an emotion. You fall into love, you fall out of love. I can't control my emotions. I can't control the way I feel. It's just the way I feel. Kids being used as pawns in divorces all over this country, and we think nothing of it. We think, oh, good for you, lady, you left that bastard you were with. And his kids will never see him again. Point two, if you're so upset about kids being taken away from their families, being separated from their families, you better damn sure do everything you can do to bring every single one of our servicemen back to this land. I've seen it, people, and it is not a happy sight when an aircraft carrier leaves the dock to go on a 7, 8, 9, 10-month cruise. It is not a pretty sight. There are wives on the pier crying. There are kids on the pier crying. But again, there's no outrage. Those servicemen knew what was coming before they signed up. They knew that they would have to leave their families. Yes. And the people that cross the border know that they're doing something illegal and that it could lead to the separation of their families. You can't just look at one small, tiny piece of something and be outraged. I don't believe there is any hate intended by our closing the borders. Here's something. Why don't you fly to Austria? Once you get into Austria, you throw your passport away and sneak into Germany. And once you get into Germany, file for assistance and all that. You can't do it. Countries have borders. Yeah, I don't know why countries have borders. That's just the way that it has always been. I mean, hell, you people don't want one guy to rule the United States. How are you going to feel when one guy rules the entire world? How is that going to work? We can't all think the same way. We can't all feel the same things. But you have to weigh everything. You know? Some people see, you know, an old person trip on a sidewalk and they feel bad. Other people see an old person trip on the sidewalk and it's funny. You know? Makes them laugh. The truth is it's neither sad nor funny. It's just something that happened. You know, sometimes I do boneheaded things that should be sad. Maybe they're funny. I don't know. But you can't let your emotions determine the way that you think. In problem solving, critical problem solving, one of the first things they say is, if you're too close, step back. You're getting emotional. Calm down. Take time to look at things rationally, not emotionally. And that's where, you know, that's what we need to do in this country. We need to look at things rationally. I don't know. All right, is that all of that? That should be all of that, you know? Again, if you squawk about separating kids from parents, if you're divorced, shut the hell up. Because you've already separated your children from their parents. And if you're so worried about kids being separated from their parents, bring every single one of our soldiers, Air Force, Marines, Navy, bring them all back here. Let them stay in this country. Plain and simple. That's all there is to it. What else is going on here? City of Keene. This past week, the Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee voted against a 2018 Keene Pumpkin Fest. There were a lot of concerns over growth because, of course, Let It Shine wants this a little bit bigger than last year. But I know we've seen this before from the very first Pumpkin Fest, which to me was the best one ever. I went down there with my wife, my kids. I think there were 600 pumpkins. It was very low key. It was people of the community. There weren't outsiders. There weren't vendors. I think possibly the church at the head of the square might have been open and had hot chocolate and things like that. But all the businesses were open. You could pop into, Lindy's and get a coffee, or you could pop into Timoleon's or the Stage, or, we didn't have Pedrazza's back then, but these days you pop into Pedrazza's for a bite, a little snack or something. Granted, none of that helps nonprofits in the area. But then again, back when the Pumpkin Fest was in full force in 2014, all those nonprofits paid a fee. Just like everything else, art in the park. Photographers don't just go out there and artists don't just go out there and set up a booth and sell stuff. You need to pay for that spot. Yeah, because regardless of what anybody says, it is all about the money. Again, greedy, piggy people. Plain and simple. So, Planning Licenses and Development voted to not allow Let It Shine to use the common for the Keene Pumpkin Fest. Another thing they were concerned about is the name. And the same thing last year. When it was, if I remember last year, it was kind of reluctantly pushed through on a we'll see what happens kind of a thing. Super small, super compact, community event. Yeah. And I guess it went all right. Yeah, as with any outdoor event. I mean, I faced the same thing last weekend but 2 weekends ago in Dayton. After paying $200 in tickets and parking and special photography passes, there was a great chance that Saturday and Sunday could have been washed out. Air show goes on, rain or shine. They don't refund money. In the rain, you can still go to an air show and look at everything on the ground, but the planes don't fly. And that's, that is, for a lot of people, it's the only reason they come is to watch airplanes fly. Some people come to those air shows, never look at one thing of course they look at them as they walk by them, but they never, go through any of the exhibits. They never stop at any of the booths. They go in, they watch the planes in the air, and they leave. So any outdoor event has the chance that it's going to be horrible weather. And that's just, especially if you have an event that you can't have a rain date for, such as an air show. Air shows are a huge undertaking, especially this one in Dayton. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it last week or not, but Dayton has been doing this air show since 1975, I believe, without stop. But I'm going to get more information. I have to call the executive director of the Veteran Dayton Air Show organization next week and get some information. So, but I figure as executive director, he needs at least a 1 full week to decompress and get all the reports back in from this year's show. Next Thursday, this issue goes to City Council. I'm hoping that I will be able to be in the control room for that. I'm not sure though, due to the surgery thing, how many days. Like I said, how many days I'm going to be laid up. But I'm hoping to get back to work as soon as possible and back to doing what I do. The name, Keene Pumpkin Fest. Last year, I believe there was a concern over the name as well. Maybe it's founded, maybe it's unfounded, I don't know. But as an organization, when you went through such a hard time last year, and people told you a lot of the hard time you're getting is because of the name, then you would think that when they came forward this year, they might have, come up with a different name. I think Phil Jones said, maybe I'd think different if you came in and called it the Jack-o'-lantern Jamboree. Something like that. I don't know. Think up any other name but Keene Pumpkin Fest. I bet we could put together, this wonderful, beautiful, spring flower show downtown, and line the streets with flowers. And the city council would turn it down if I went in and said, yeah, we're going to do this big thing in the spring with all kinds of flowers. I'm going to call it the Keene Pumpkin Fest. They would probably go, sorry. Don't take, back when I was doing the original Unfiltered, I wish I had the book still. I used to have a book that was 1001 useless facts and information, or stuff you never thought you wanted to know. One of the facts in there was, I believe it was the Chevy Nova that couldn't be sold in Spanish-speaking countries because Nova basically meant piece of crap or something, So, it's all in a name. As Ford never put out a second Pinto. Why? Because when you think of the name Pinto, you think you get rear-ended and you blow up. Yes, if you have a name that takes on a negative connotation, you change the name. Yes, that's why a lot of people change their names, I don't know. So it's bound to be Thursday night. City Council is bound to be one worth watching. Maybe not. There's going to be a lot of talk. I'm sure every single councilor is going to want to stand up and put in their 2 cents worth 2 or 3 times, because, you get up and put in your first 2 cents worth, and then somebody else gets up and puts their 2 cents worth, and that gives you 2 cents more, apparently. And I don't know how that works. But they all seem to end up saying the same thing time after time after time after time. Which to me is just a waste of your time sitting in front of the TV watching it. No disrespect meant to the council, I'm sorry, but you guys know how I am. I tell you what's on my mind. And if I think that sometimes you talk too much, yeah, I'm going to tell you sometimes you talk too much. What else is going on this week? The weather. Saturday, when I came in here to shoot the show Saturday morning. It was the very beginning of what I'm told is going to be a extremely hot time, and I hope you made out on Monday all right, because it was supposed to be over 100 degrees here in Keene. And, you know, don't throw the global warming crap at me either, because I've seen it at 100 degrees before. If I remember right, there were a few days in my boot camp I went to Great Lakes, up there just outside of Chicago. And we had a couple of days in boot camp where we had the red flag warnings, and it was over 105 degrees, and it was no exercise. If it made it to I believe if it made it to 107, it was everybody lay in their beds, and that was it. You know, they're very serious about these heat diseases. You know, because it'll creep right up on you. You won't even notice. You're dehydrated. And it's not hypothermia, it's the opposite of hypothermia, where you get too hot, you overheat, just like a car. So I hope you stayed someplace where it's cool. I'm not even sure some of these, you know, if getting in a lake would help, because probably the lake temperatures are getting up there into the 60s and 70s, and, you know, even the ocean temperatures are probably getting high here in the beginning of July. So, the 4th of July is Wednesday. Hope you all get out and see some fireworks, or if you're going to light off fireworks, please be extremely careful. There are lots of people that are hurt, maimed for life, possibly even killed on the 4th of July due to mishandling of fireworks. Yeah. Do it safe. Kids, stay away from them. I know they're fun, and you know, it's fire, and it sparks, and it's all this cool stuff. But they're very dangerous. Get adult supervision. And honestly, sober adult supervision. Yeah. Alcohol and fireworks don't mix the same way the alcohol and firearms don't mix. Yeah. But, you know, get out, have a great time. I love shooting off fireworks myself. And no, that's not how I lost my eye. But hey, if you need a good fireworks shooter, I'm already down one, so you know, I can't lose it. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe next year I'll be lighting fireworks again, but this year, probably not. I probably won't even be able to get out and see any of the fireworks this year. So, enjoy yourself. Stay relatively sober. Have a designated driver. You know, there's got to be at least one person you know that can go without drinking for a day to ensure the safety of his friends or her friends. But yeah, altogether too many accidents on the 4th of July, parties, barbecues. You know, enjoy yourself, but moderation. That's what it's all about, is moderation. Don't eat too much, don't drink too much, you know, and by all means, be safe. Be as safe as you possibly can, because we want you around on the 5th and the 6th and the 7th of July as well. You know, every week I do this show, you know, I lose, you know, lose some fans. So the fans that I've got, you know, I want you to hang around so you're able to enjoy many, many more Unfiltered, because I plan to be here, you know. Even if I'm dead, they're going to prop me up and record me once a week. It's actually in my will that I'm going to be taxidermied. I'm going to be stuck in a corner down here at Cheshire TV, and once a week they're going to point a camera at me and turn it on for half an hour. And yeah, so that's the way it'll be for eternity. So look with my good eye at my clock here, about 2.5 minutes. I can't really think of anything else I want to rant about. Just, stop letting emotions drive you. Think of what's good. Think of, instead of telling everybody to come to America because their countries suck, why don't we try and teach these people in other countries how they can fix their own countries and make them better? And I don't think that sending our service people away from their families and separating them from their families is doing any good for the world the way it is. So let's snap back over here to this camera, and I've got just a little over a minute left to go. So you can see Unfiltered every Tuesday night at 7:30 is when the new episodes generally air. I'm not sure if there'll be one next week or if you'll watch this episode for 2 weeks. Scattered times throughout the rest of the week. Check the Cheshire TV schedule. You can find that online at CheshireTV.org or in between shows on Channel 8 and Channel 10. We have a little slide that comes up that basically shows you the next 10 or 12 programs that are airing and what time they're airing. Sometimes the printed schedule is wrong because Mark has to make those schedules 2 weeks in advance, and if something gets scheduled and it's not, it gets canceled or something happens, there's nothing really we can do about it. So the best way is in between TV shows. Right at the end of every TV show, a slide comes up and says, here's what's coming up next on Cheshire TV, and it lists the next few things. So, until next week, or the week after, when I'll probably have a big old patch on my eye, I'm Rick Blood. This is Unfiltered. Peace.